So in this final video, what we're going to end up doing now is we're going to add a few more input parameters just to make it for a lot more customizable. And we're also going to get it into Marmoset and just set up a presentation for it. Because when I'm actually doing materials, instead of using this 3D view here, I tend to have on one screen Marmoset and the other Substance Designer, because what you can do is if you right click on the substance graph that you want to export out, you can go to export outputs as bitmaps. I tend to leave them as PNGs. You can use whatever you want. And then what I end up doing is having automatic export when outputs change. So any changes that I do in this graph will automatically update the output, which means it will update straight away in Marmoset. So what I'm going to do, we have named everything, so that's good that we got there. Let's put here and frame this and just name this as normal. Normal edition. I think that's wrong. There we go. So now that we've got this, what I'm going to do straight away is I'm going to double click and then I'm going to start changing some of these stuff, because at the moment it's a bit messy. Like, you've got pattern selection up here, you've got the switch, and you've got the amount there, so I kind of want to change these. So I'm going to actually put them in their own group as well. So let's go with pattern for this one and that one. I'm going to leave these out. If we minimize them all, we can change this down here, because on the top I'd like to have the X, Y amount. And then in here we have the pattern, so we'll be able to choose the pattern selection, and then we have our switch, of course, so we can do that. We can actually put a description on as well, so where we can do, we'll only change when switch is set to false. And then that just means that if we hover over it, there we go. So this will only change, so if we hover over the text, then we can see that it says that there. Okay. So I'm going to want to change some more things. We're going to come in here and we're going to expose these as well. So this one we're going to expose, and we're going to call it more to color. Click OK. Then expose this and name this new tiles background, and go pattern color, and we can just call this one secondary tile color. Click OK. And then just going to leave the mortar here as it is. We can actually bring in like a HLSL, which could end up changing it, but we're going to leave this as it is for now. I'll show you what I mean. Like, if we brought out this, then we could expose these, and then the person will be able to change it depending on what type of color they wanted for the mortar inside. So they can choose the black or some really weird color but I think we're gonna not bother with that. We don't just leave the mortar for white in this case. So if I double click and then we come down here, and then we're gonna have our colors here, and then we're just gonna group this in color, and then name this as mortar color. Come down to tiles background, set the group to color, and then tiles background, and then a pattern color, color, keep it consistent, so I just want a capital T there, and then color. And then with these, I kind of want to put them in a good order. So I'm going to bring the mortar to its final, and then we want the pattern color. Then we have the secondary color, and then the background color. So it kind of goes from 1, 2, 3, then 4. We can also yeah, so I'm wrong, this isn't the mortar color, that's the edgeware color, so we actually want to rename that. So using the wrong word, edgeware color, there we go. We come down here, we're having color, all our colors, which we can end up then just changing here. So we can just go really stupid and go abstracted colors. And we have our awesome looking tiles. So I'm just going to go back a couple of times. Actually, if we click on the preview thing and just go no, should set that back as what it was. Just update, and there we go. So we have our switches, we have our patterns. So these will have their necessary stuff. The roughness, I don't really want to have any of this exposed. I kind of want to keep the roughness as it is. We can always have a levels at the end, which the third party can then edit to what they need. But I'm going to leave the roughness as it is and leave the rest as they are, because if we also go to click on the thing and go random seed, this is actually going to change certain things anyway. It's going to go through all the nodes and then set the random seed up. So you can see that we've got more of a tear here going on. So we go back to 0. There we go. And then all I really want to do is now expose the edge thickness for the edgeware. So come into the bevels. I'm going to be doing it on all of the bevels. I think, let's see. Don't really want to mess around with this bevel, so it'd just be these two then. So if we grab the distance and expose it and give this new, and then go edge where distance 1, click OK, and come here and do the same with this one. But calling this edge where distance 2. Check yeah, keep spelling the wrong, putting the wrong where down. So let's go back to this distance and make sure this is the right one. There we go. And we can pop this into its group, just copy and paste, and grab this one. And there we go. So now we actually have a bunch of stuff that we can edit if we need to. Obviously you can come in here and edit more things that you think would be necessary, but I think these are some of the good major ones, especially that when we bring this up, we may want to bring the edge distance down. I'm going to rename them as well, because Need to be a bit more. So copying this and then just getting rid of the underscores, replacing with space bars. Oh. There we go. There we go. So we got the both of the distance. Now, one great thing about this is that if we were to export this out as a substance thing, so we came up here, then let me just figure out how to do this again. So, oh yeah, we come to Ornate tiles here, and then we right click and then go export as substance file here, the SAR. It means that all these would be viewable to be able to change. So if you were using substance, the substance file inside of Unity, UE4, so Unreal Engine 4, and even Marmoset, you'd be able to change these. You'd be able to change these as you want. So now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to right click here, and then we're going to actually move on to the Marmoset now. So I'm going to go, not compute outputs. I want to click on the Ornate tiles, right click, and then go export outputs as bitmaps. I want to make sure that all our identifiers are selected. If they're not, you could either tick them or click all. None just deselects them. I'm not going to tick this because we know this is just a one-time export. So Ornate tiles tutorial, just want to make sure that this is in its... I normally put this in a outputs file, and then I select that folder, and then I click save all. If we minimize and come to our folder, then that's all of them coming through at 1024. Now let's open up Marmoset Toolbag 2. So with Marmoset, you're going to be given this viewport straight away. If you haven't used it, then you can check out the Marmoset website for some quick tutorials, but we're just going to go over some stuff anyway. I'm actually going to import some models, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to import a flat plane, a rounded cube, and a sphere. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to look at them. So I brought in the models. I'm going to show you what we got. So we have this rounded cube here, so focus on that. It's just a cube with some beveled edges. These are all different sizes as well, so sorry about that. We have a rounded cylinder that I've got. Now, if you don't have something to show off your materials on, you could even make your own. Rohilio also has for free some material presentation things. It's a cylinder and a cube. So if you rather just grab that, you can grab that. I just made my own ones because I thought it would be just easier. Then we have a sphere one, and then we have a large tile plane, which is what I used for this presentation. So what I'm actually going to do now is start bringing in the materials. So I'm going to delete the ones that came in from the thingy. So we're going to click on this for the albedo, go to the desktop, let's find our Ornate patterns here. Going to go output, and then click on the albedo. Just gonna use this for now. So we see our rounded cube here. One thing that I really like to do is to keep the sharpness is get rid of bitmaps. It just keeps the material looking sharp. I'm going to end up bringing in a roughness, so click on that. One thing we also want to do is down here in reflection, we're going to change this to GGX. Because it's just similar to the, I believe it's similar to what the substance designer viewport shader is, and it's pretty much the same as what the Unreal one is as well. So I always change this to GGX. I'm going to come to the normal map. I'm going to bring in our normal, and then we're going to flip the Y because we use DirectX. We use a DirectX texture in this. Defaults to OpenGL, so we just want to make sure that we flip that. And again, I tend to get rid of the bitmap in on these, And then in displacement, we can grab our height, click on this, and it's firstly going to just bulge out like this, which isn't what we want. But if we go PN triangles and bring down the scale, because again, we don't want to go overboard on this. We just want something nice. So just bring it out slightly. You can even bring up the tessellation. Seem to be doing much. It's probably because yeah, it's a lot not perfect this for the tessellation. You could also use if you don't want to use the height and you don't have enough RAM or anything, you can use the parallaxing. So I just made it parallax into normal. Click on the height, and then it does that here. You can see the height going on. Again, we don't want it too deep. You can see that it doesn't deform the material. It's just doing it through the shader. It's like a bump offset. So I'm going to just bring it in ever so slightly. It just kind of breaks it up a bit. Okay, now that we got this, you can change this to metallic if you want to do roughness and metallic matte. I usually leave the specular on, and if I have a thing, I'd end up changing this to whatever ceramic tiles is. You can check out like Don't Nod's PBR graph and stuff like that, so you can see what the ceramic one is. So we're probably looking at more kind of a darker grey. So we can even just turn this down a bit. But I think for myself, I kind of just left it. I'm not going to touch that. I'm going to bring in the occlusion, which is just down here. So click on that, click on the occlusion. Bring in our AO. It's going to darken the depth bits a bit thing. And then one thing that I really like to do is I don't like the sky being in the background. I find that it's kind of too distracting from the material. So you could even just go blurred sky, which blurs it a bit. You can use the ambient sky. But what I like to do is just use color and then bring this down in its color. And then you have it like this. And then you can check out your material. So I think this is looking pretty nice on the cube. Let's see what it looks like on our other materials. Looks like I accidentally turned off the wrong one there. So with our cylinder, I tend to use this one a lot of the time. I really like this shape. It's quite a nice looking presentation as well. So you can just use this one. You can use enormous sphere. And just change the lighting conditions, and then you got the large plane here, which is kind of, I think this isn't maybe the one that I use, because I think this is too tessellated. I think now that I think about it, I'd probably use this one, so it's like a 4x4. And then what I like to do is bring down the rotation, so it's more like this. Zoom in. I'm going to rotate this slightly just to give it some visual interest, and if I change the lighting around, actually bring that more here. Zoom out, not too by too much. Just trying to make it look a bit interesting. Now we can change the light in. If we come to sky and go to presets, we can then look through the actual other presets and check which one's looks more nice. So this is what I tend to do. I tend to go through them more, find which ones looking nice. I think in the end I ended up using the smashed windows one maybe. I kind of like this one. Maybe we could see what else we can get done with the lighting. And then what I tend to also do is come to the sky and then I'd create my own light as well from this. Just like sometimes I'll create a couple just to add a bit more variation to it. Bring that up slightly. This one I think's too bright, so I'm going to do that. Then I like to rotate the actual lights around to get a good placement for it. And then I tend to actually bring down the brightness and then bring up the child lights. And just mess around with some of the lighting. So I actually think I kind of like this. You can then end up coming to the cameras. There's always tons of things you can edit in this. So I'm bring up the exposure, the contrast. You can set the presets. There's tons of presets you can use. I'm just going to use the default. I like to also bring up the sharpen a bit just so that it's not too blurry, but obviously we don't want to go too much. Bloom I don't really use. I think it just washes out the texture a bit too much. You can bring in a vignette so you can have some a nice fade around the border. And I don't use the grain as well because it makes it a bit noisy. And then what I'll end up doing is bringing in a depth of field and then start changing the focus to around the middle and then start changing the far and close blur till we get something kind of nice like this. So this is kind of nice, but I think this far one can probably go back a bit. Okay, so the Marmoset setting up some a quick presentation is setting up a presentation is pretty easy. I tend to also create another camera, so if I like this one but I want to see what it looks like on the other stuff as well, I can then start messing around, rotating it, going okay, that's what that looks like. This is what this one looks like with it. We've got the rounded cube. So it's all just about messing around, finding what you like more. Obviously this isn't the one that I used in the background. You can see this lighting is a bit more different, and I think that is because I ended up using if I come to the sky and come to presets, I'm pretty sure I used one of these ones. I think it was maybe Smashed Windows or the Indoor Fluorescent, and I just came round and brought in different colors. So you can do that and then bring in more lights. It's a bit too bright. So yeah, it's just about messing around, finding like what one you prefer the look of. I'm kind of gonna go back to what we had. I like this. I'm gonna use this as well as one of the things. But yeah, you can see that with our roughness, we have it where it's more. It's not rough in the mortar. There's maybe some points where it looks a bit more brighter, and then it's just the tile on top, which is has the thing, and each tile is different. So there's not like a constant shine. So they're not all this shiny color. They all have like a set height to them. So pushing F11 is a shortcut which will bring out a rendered copy, and it goes to your desktop, and then you can just double click the image and then you have that there. So thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope you guys found it useful. I think quickly, yeah, I hope you guys found it useful. You could remember that you can just come into this as well, and you can start changing these colors. So you can make this more. And then if I export this out and do save all, I'll show you what I guys meant. That now if I click on this, you can see that it's updated it. It's now this darker texture. I'm going to switch to camera 1 to see it a lot better. So that's why I kind of like have these different settings, so you can change here to get it looking how you want. So I hope this tutorial was helpful and you guys picked up some tips or maybe some new things. So again, thank you for watching the tutorial, and I will see you in the next one.